Welcome again to Highly Questionable. Dan's just on vacation this time. He did choose to vacation inside of a Domino's store, so that's kind of weird. This is his very proud father. That over there is Frank Isola. Frank, what do you like on the show today?
We got Big Ben is hurting, and even bigger, Zion Williamson is going to defy gravity. Wait till you see this.
Let's do this, Papi.
Does Yasiel Puig deserve to be suspended?
Oh, man, things aren't going great for the Dodgers right now. Kenta Maeda, for example, became the fourth consecutive reliever to lose a game for the Dodgers in the ninth inning. And yesterday, this happened with Yasiel Puig and Nick Hundley. You had Nick Hundley basically talking smack to Yasiel Puig, who was having none of it. They got into it. And, of course, you see Yasiel Puig, who's not one to back down from situations like this.
Plus, there's a history here between Puig and the Giants, mostly Madison Bumgarner.
Of course.
Now he's getting into it with Hundley.
I'm glad you mentioned that, too, because the thing with Madison Bumgarner a couple of years ago just speaks to how sensitive these baseball players really are that start brawls like this. I mean, he sent 12 letters reportedly to Yasiel Puig a couple of years ago. It was, "Don't look at me." Okay, and they got into a big thing. Now, this was Nick Hundley supposedly talking smack, telling him to get back in the box, yada, yada, after he didn't like that he fouled off a pitch. I'm sorry, but I've heard smack talk in the NFL. I've heard smack talk in the NBA. It's way worse than what sets these guys off in baseball. Does Yasiel Puig deserve to be suspended? Sure, he threw that swinging punch or slap or whatever you want to call it and incited this whole situation. But, man, they are overly sensitive in so many levels in baseball.
Yeah. Puig deserves to be suspended when he threw that punch. And if you're him and you think about what's happened with the Dodgers now, they've lost 12 of 14 games since the All-Star break. They need his bat in the lineup. And to get ejected there, I think he got baited by Hundley. So good job by Hundley, who I don't think deserved to be ejected. What did he do? He took a slap to the face.
He got baited, but he got baited with this quote. He said, he told me to stop complaining and get back in the box. That's what Puig said. When I got in his face, he told me to get out of his face. So that's when I got upset with him. Man, that was worth that level of fight?
If they suspend Yasiel Puig, I'm going to boycott this show until Monday the 27th.
Good idea.
Is Kyle Kuzma right that the Lakers are being underestimated?
Well, there's obviously a lot of conversation around the Los Angeles Lakers, and the latest to chime in was a Los Angeles Laker, Kyle Kuzma, who told ESPN that he believes people are underestimating the Lakers and their young talent. Here's the thing that I believe about this. I understand the idea that LeBron James makes everybody better, and I understand that these young players not only will benefit from having him on the team, but will grow a little bit on their own, and I could totally predict a maybe 50-win team, and it surprises some people. But one of the elements about playing with LeBron James that goes understated is he does a great job of making people fit into roles, right? Whether it be a J.R. Smith, a Shane Battier, a Ray Allen, a Mario Chalmers, any of those people, and most of them have been veteran players who are willing to take on those roles. The difficulty with putting younger players in those roles is, will they flourish in those spots? Will they accept those spots or be okay with not necessarily expanding their game but being more of a specialist? Will Kyle Kuzma be okay with sitting in the corner a lot of the time? Will Lonzo Ball be okay without the ball in his hands? Will Brandon Ingram sort of float and drift away if he's not involved in all the plays? That's the difficulties, in my opinion, the Lakers have to deal with, and that might show early on. By the end of the season, you'll probably see a well-oiled machine.
I tend to underestimate the Lakers because it seems like that's what LeBron is doing. You know, every time LeBron comes out and talks, he doesn't talk about championship with the Lakers. And when you have LeBron James, that's what it's about, winning titles. So I don't have an issue with LeBron. I'm sure he's going to be great. And I'm sure Rajon Rondo, who's played well in his last two stops, Chicago and New Orleans, will be good. But come on, those young players, they've never played in a pressure game. And remember something else about LeBron. Last year he played 82 games, and that got Cleveland 50 wins in the Eastern Conference. Is he going to play 82 games this year out west? I don't know. Maybe he will. But I don't know about 50 wins for this Laker team. In the Western Conference, I don't know.
You can still be a surprise of the league and not be a championship contender. And I think that's where LeBron is probably placed in this. Somewhere between, really strong second-round showing in the playoffs and maybe a Western Conference Finals appearance. That's about it. And it's not something he's really going to brag about before the season starts.
Oh, we're making excuses already. Eh? We got LeBron, the best player in the history of basketball, and making excuses.
Yeah, he's holding up his injured hand. He's letting his teammates do all the talking. Yeah, definitely excuse making.
Are people being too hard on Dwight Howard's attempt to evolve his game?
Probably the most shocking piece of information I read today is that Dwight Howard is 32 years old. The second most shocking thing I heard is that he still wants to play until he's 40. The interesting thing about Dwight Howard in the new portion of this conversation, because it feels like we've been talking about Dwight Howard's decline for years, is that he's trying to actually change his game to fit into today's NBA. And he'll tell you, and it makes perfect sense, when he first got in the league, he was playing against the Shaquille O'Neals, the Alonzo Mournings, the Jermaine O'Neals, and it was more of a low-post game. Now, with due time, he has tried to evolve his game. We might actually see him taking shots outside of the paint. We might actually see him just run the floor hard or dive on pick and rolls without having to beg for the ball in the post. He's working with these two new trainers since last spring, and now you've got a situation where here's a guy who late last season, which, by the way, he played 81 games, and the only game he missed was due to a suspension. He had a 30-30 game last year late in the season for the Hornets. I'm actually starting to believe that Dwight Howard and his 3% body fat might actually make the Wizards a contender in the Eastern Conference.
The latest accessory for the NBA star is a personal trainer who's making promises that his client just cannot keep. Why are you talking about Kevin Durant? You're not going to be crossing anybody over from 30 feet out and hitting a pull-up three in front of LeBron James. And Anthony Davis, that's kind of the new wave big man. Dwight Howard last season, folks, played 81 games, 16.5 points, 12.5 rebounds per game. That's what he needs to focus on. Just being a guy that runs the court, grabs rebounds, gets easy baskets. You're not going to be that player. I give you credit for trying to evolve a little bit, but just be what you are. You always put up big numbers. And you know what? Here's another thing. Just be a better teammate. That might help, too.
By the way, this was in a story in the Washington Post, and my favorite quote, or my second favorite quote, and it was what you just said. He's going to be a combination of Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant, but his version.
Sure. I think that this guy is great. I mean, he gets rebounds, he put a few points on the board, and he doesn't play for the Heat. How worried should the Steelers be about Big Ben concussion?
Well, Big Ben is 36 years old. Feels like he's been in the league as long as Dwight Howard has, and had a concussion in practice, which wasn't this sort of blindside hit, wasn't this big collision, just had a concussion in practice. And so if I'm Ben Roethlisberger, I'm worried about my long-term health, of course. And he has said in the past that his career, his decision to retire will be based in part on the long-term health that obviously is in peril when you play football. I've seen enough documentaries, I've seen enough films, I've seen enough of these situations where you see former NFL players, former football players in serious physical conditions in their 50s and 60s, and it's horrible to watch. So if I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, my fear would be that Ben Roethlisberger decides that he has had enough, and he will call it a career sometime soon.
To Izzy's point, 2 off seasons ago, Ben Roethlisberger was saying that he could kind of see the beginning of the end, and he talked a lot about retirement. This past off season, he talked about playing 3 to 5 more years. I wonder what he was thinking yesterday as he's laying there on the practice field after taking a knock to the head. This is the second time in 3 years that he's been in concussion protocol. He's a big, burly quarterback, a lot like Cam Newton. These guys have taken big hits over their careers. For Ben, 36 years old, I think the beginning of the end is right now.
I tell you one thing, Ben, you have to listen to Mason Rudolph. This is the guy that told you, take it easy, Ben.
That's right.
You got to take as much time off as you can because, you're getting old now. It's going to be tougher from now on. If I were you, I'll stay on the bench most of the time, take care of that concussion.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win, that's right. Did Ben Zobrist deserve to be ejected from what he said to the home plate umpire?
As we continue our conversations about guys who have been in their respective leagues forever, 37-year-old Ben Zobrist is in the news, and he had a conversation with an umpire after this at-bat here where he was called out on a 3-2 pitch that looked outside. This isn't the conversation that got him tossed, though. He got tossed a little bit later. I mean, that looked pretty close, right?
Pitch.
That's pretty borderline. But Ben was angry about this, and he came back and spoke to the umpire there, Phil Kuzma. Here's what he had to say after the game about being ejected.
I just basically said, well, that's why, we want an electronic strike zone. And that's what obviously got me tossed. So,
Now, Ben Zobrist is mild-mannered, you can seemingly tell by that video here, but he does deliver the one-liners, and that one-liner must have struck fear into that umpire's heart, because it's the one thing that can take their jobs away is having a robot back there calling balls and strikes. I know the players want it. I personally don't want it, and I know that umpire doesn't want it, Phil Kuzma.
All right, let me stick up for the umpire here, because Phil Kuzma, a Newark, New Jersey guy, Papi's old stomping grounds, he didn't eject Ben Zobrist when he argued balls and strikes, which usually is an automatic ejection. He let him come back out in between the 8th and the 9th inning, carried on the conversation, then he tossed him. To me, that's a borderline pitch, and usually balls and strikes, you're going to get thrown out. First career ejection, Ben Zobrist, he got his money's worth on this one.
I tell you one thing. I coach Little League Baseball, and I told my players, anything close, you swing. Yeah. That's it. The same thing with you, Zobrist. Anything close, you swing. You have been on the league for I don't know how many years, about 15 years. You're an old guy. You're a veteran player. You swing. If you don't swing, that's what happened to you, You look like a fool in front of about 40,000 fans.
That's right. You coached Dan in Little League. Did you give him any advice?
Oh, I did. I kept telling him, you step into the pitch, and then that way you get hit and you get onto first base. That's the only way you're going to get on base. That's right.
High on base percentage. That's good strategy.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
Any part of this.
All right, they're either going to a fight or they're just jogging off the field. But either way, here's Swearinger, and here comes Terrell Pryor. And Swearinger might make him look silly right here.
My Son's TV show is brought to you by your local Lexus dealer and the Golden Opportunity Sales Event, now through September the 4th.
I'm a squeaky toy, and I've got one job, getting chomped on by this little ankle sniffer. So pardon me for feeling inept compared to Geico, who does so much more. Like while I'm getting slobbered on, Geico is creating cool technology like their mobile app, which lets people pay their bills or file a claim. Plus, Geico is the fastest growing auto insurer for the last 10 years. Is it too much for me to ask for one more feature? Fast and friendly claim service like Geico, maybe? Oh, great. I'm getting buried again.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Time to play the game that has the keys to Dan's apartment and knows about 600 people he hasn't seen in a while. Do you question?
I'm one of them. You give us the topics and events, we question.
Party at Dan's.
Do you question if Terrell Pryor is soft?
If you want to see a football camp fight, you want to watch these joint practices. This time you had the New York Jets and the Washington Football Club, and Terrell Pryor was involved here, and he kind of looks a little weak. Here is him and DJ Swearinger.
But the fight is breaking out on the adjacent field. That's what's great about this.
Okay.
These guys are going to eventually decide to join in on the fight, and I don't think Terrell Pryor wanted any part of this.
All right, they're either going to a fight or they're just jogging off the field. But either way, here's Swearinger, and here comes Terrell Pryor. And Swearinger might make him look silly right here with that. Oh, the fake punch. Didn't even put his hand in the air, just kind of gave the shoulder. And Terrell Pryor, who is wearing a helmet, ducked. I mean, get out of here with that.
And he's about 4 inches taller.
And he is.
He's got a longer reach and a helmet on.
So to answer the question, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say he's soft.
I never flinch.
Oh, well, they didn't.
The Jets should sign you.
The next coach.
Keep trying, losers. Be there all day long.
That's his new thing.
Do you question if he played this off well?
Now, I want you to just close your eyes for a second, okay? Close your eyes and imagine you've always wanted to be on television. Even for a couple of seconds, you wanted to show your face in front of a national audience, okay? Your dream is about to come true. Now, open your eyes and imagine you're this guy.
Another power display by your
Not that guy.
Braves. And, of course,
security.
Oh, this poor guy. And it's every time you see it, you get the laugh. Look, he's picking up his pants as he's running and, loses the hat, almost flips, and you still see his face after he gets up. That is not the TV debut I wanted to make.
And on the right, that's former Brave and former Atlanta Falcon Brian Jordan. He's barely smiling a little bit because he knows what's going on behind him.
At least that security guard was trying, unlike this one here.
That is everybody's dream security guard going into a concert, a game, a festival, anything like that. We want that guy on our line.
Do you question if Zion Williamson looks ready for the next level?
No, I don't question it. I didn't question it when he was 13 years old. I thought he was ready for the NBA then. Look, this is a guy whose athleticism is somewhere at a combination between LeBron James and Charles Barkley. He's already ready for the league. He just has to play at Duke for 1 year, and he did this at a recent Duke practice.
Built like Big Baby.
I mean, he even like a skip step in there, too. He didn't even need to give a full run for that. And he was half foot on the free throw line. That's ridiculous. And he's not even as strong as he's going to be at 6'7", 285. I love this guy.
The Duke basketball team studying abroad. By the way, you know what they call this at Cameron Indoor Stadium during the regular season? An and one.
Ring, ring, ring. Hello. Who is this? Oh, Fred. Oh, Fred Hoiberg. Hoiberg. Yeah, Fred. What's up? Oh, you watched the video, huh? He carried the ball. You wouldn't draft him, yeah? Well, Fred, I don't know if you are going to have a job by the time he's ready to be drafted. Yeah?
Oh.
He got mad at me. He hung up on me.
Well, he spends too much time calling this show.
Highly questionable is broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. My Son Stevie show is brought to you by the Dave Double from Wendy's. Time to play the game that is approximately 346 seconds away from being on vacation. See? Or no?
Approximately. You tell us what to watch on TV tonight. We'll tell you if we're intrigued.
On Fox Sports Florida, Marlins and Braves.
Yes, I have not seen a single Marlins game all season long, even though I live here in Miami. But here's why I will at least begin to watch this one. Ronald Acuna Jr. is a 20-year-old rookie who's having a phenomenal season, has a 922 OPS right now. He's hit home runs in 5 straight games. The last 3, however, have been leadoff home runs. So I kind of want to tune in for the first at bat just to watch the leadoff home run happen or not happen, and then I can change the channel. But outside of that, this Acuna has been great.
5 straight games of home runs. Only 20 years old. Youngest player ever to do that.
Man. 2 of them last night. Sort of a Juan Soto out in Washington has taken some attention away from this guy, but those are 2 pretty darn impressive rookies. Frank, are you intrigued?
Oh, absolutely. And what were the Braves waiting for? They finally moved him to the leadoff spot after the All-Star break. He's batting .358 with 12 home runs from the leadoff spot. This is going to be the Rookie of the Year.
How about you, Papi? Are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Listen, he hit those 2 homers last night against the Marlins. Well, that doesn't count. They don't count. I mean, anybody can hit 2 or 3 against the Marlins. You know what I mean?
Add those to his minor league stats, not the major league
stats.
AAA. On Fox Sports Ohio, Indians and Reds.
Not so much, but I do like watching Billy Hamilton run around. He's a ridiculous athlete. What do you do after this catch?
Acquired him in a deal with Arizona. Carrasco, still a young guy. That ball is belted by Lindor.
I mean, if you don't know who Hamilton is, he's the one that's blurring across the screen. Hey. He caught the ball, hung on the wall, gave away a souvenir,
I'm going to review that.
Back down.
I'm going to review that if I'm the manager.
Oh,
it was Terry Francona. That should be a home run.
Home run or fan interference? Either way, somebody should be on base. Frank, are you intrigued?
Oh, of course I am. I like interleague play. And if I'm Terry Francona, why not challenge the play? Make the game even longer. Why not?
Papi, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. But listen, if that were to happen in the Marlins game, you know, he won't be able to give the ball to anybody because there won't be anybody there in center field. You know what I mean? There'll be nobody watching the game at the
stadium.
stadium.
Throw it a long way to get it to a fan.
Derek Jeter's going to call you next.
Yeah, I'm expecting his phone call.
In Georgia, Falcons camp.
Unless there's a beef between Cam Newton and Kelvin Benjamin, I'm not really interested in many camps. But here's Mohamed Sanu in a nice moment with his son.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take it off.
It's good hair on that kid.
Daddy's turn? Okay.
There you go.
Welcome.
Jay's turn. Good sharing, buddy.
Finally.
Daddy's turn? Okay. Jay's turn. Daddy's turn.
This is amazing. I could watch this on a loop all day long.
Jay's turn. Finish it, Jay.
This could be an advertisement for a Gatorade commercial.
Yeah, Jay, finish it off.
Gatorade.
Drink it off.
There you go.
Good job, bud.
Should get that young Sanu on the staff.
In the See the gray garbage can? Go throw it in the garbage.
Not the fastest of the Sanus, but is very good. Can be a trainer, actually. All you got to do is give people water. Frank, are you intrigued?
I'm all in on this. See, you could have NFL practices and there'll be no fighting. We could have nice moments like this.
How about you, Papi? Are you intrigued?
I'm always intrigued. A moment like that really brings me old memories. I used to do the same thing with Dad, but he kept the bottle at all time. He drank everything. see, I'm very intrigued.
Sunday on E, very Cavallari.
I'm kind of intrigued, but not really. I feel like I've already learned the most interesting part about Jay Cutler is that he reads GQ magazine. And if you don't know the details about that, look it up.
I'm really excited because chickens mean fresh eggs. So that, to me, is the best thing in the world.
We should catch one, right? You should catch one. Get one.
Get in there, Jay.
It's quick.
Here, I'll go on the other side. Oh, man. Oh, he owned you. I know. Who does this guy think he is?
I know.
Come here, buddy. Look, now someone's gonna... Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
To recap, Kristen Cavallari, Jay Cutler's wife, thinks fresh eggs are the greatest thing in the world. Frank, are you intrigued?
No, I'm not. This did not exactly conjure up memories of Rocky running around catching the chicken. Come on now.
Not for you, it does for me. Papi, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. But you know what was the name of that chicken? What? The name of that pollo was Char Buckley. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
We are off until August 27th, which means this man gets to take a breather.
We're going on vacation together.
Every time.
I thought he was crying.